All right. Good morning, everyone. Has everyone recovered from the one rental at a time year 2 event? How you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, we got home Tuesday evening and made it through well, we've got a big winter blast here. It's here in Texas, it's 15 degrees this morning.
Dang. I showed you guys pictures when I returned, right? It was nice and sunny and the beach was going, so that was nice. Cody,
Yeah.
what's the weather for you?
Yeah, yeah, we didn't have that. I enjoyed my 60 degrees when I was there. We came back to like 2 degrees and 2 feet of snow on the ground, so it was fun.
All right. Well, so both of you went year 1 and you guys both went year 2. So what's your guys' thoughts and what's your guys maybe feedback or what was your expectations going in?
Cody?
So for me, yeah, 2 years in a row, I thought it was good. It was pretty similar on both sides. I think the biggest thing for me was of community there that it kind of brought me back from last year, even though there was a lot of different people that I met. It seemed like the sensitivity there is so strong that it kept bringing me back. So that was pretty cool to see the same thing kind of happen the second year. As for the speakers, I thought overall that was really good. So I'm definitely looking forward to going back in the future. That's for sure.
It was. I felt even more as a community. Maybe it's just I knew more of the group. So I was visiting a whole lot more. And then even at lunch and dinner times, those networking time, getting to know some other people that I've never met before, hearing their stories. I think I enjoyed this year more, and that's somewhat my actions of networking a little better and knowing, but then also knowing more people in the group.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
I
was
agree.
super
I think
important. Oh, go ahead, Cody.
I was just gonna say probably the same thing that you were going to, just like the extra hour of networking time in those periods were nice. I didn't feel like it was as rushed as last year, where you were able to actually dive in deeper to different conversations with people. So I thought that was a good touch. The extra hour or so of networking time was huge.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was not that excited for year 2. I mean, I think year 1 was amazing. I just didn't feel that same excitement going into year 2. I kind of did wait last minute to get my ticket. I mean, I had my hotel and flight reservations and everything. But I think year 1 going into it, there was way more excitement for me. But now that year 2 is done, I definitely want to say that I had way more fun this year. It was just different. I think you guys touched on it too. Just kind of knowing people going into it and just kind of compounding on that. I think that was super huge. And, I definitely don't feel I made that much trouble. So I want to clarify that. I wasn't out there causing too much of a ruckus, but it definitely was way more fun from my opinion.
Yeah, it was, it's good to all of us communicate through the school group and then also on different YouTube channels and actually then Zoom meetings within the school group and then meeting each other outside of that in a normal face-to-face setting was, man, I enjoyed it. I was maybe the opposite, which is good. The opposite. I was looking forward to this one a little bit more than the first one because I knew more people and was looking forward to meeting them face to face.
Yeah, Mark, I think I agree with you too. I think the first one kind of had the buzz of like 4 years of anticipation for me because I've been watching Zuber and the rest of the guys since 2020. So for me, it was like 4 years of build up into that moment. So that felt pretty like exciting as we got there. this time it definitely, the buzz was not there, or compared to last year. I think you probably felt that too. And but when we got there, there were so many people that was great to meet with and hang out with during time. I mean, we were groups of 6, 10, 12 people, every single day, and just having a good time outside of the meeting. So that's what I look forward to too.
All right, we got Lars here. You got Jim, CJ, who couldn't make it. He was in year 1, so it sounds like he's gonna be trying to make it to year 3, which Zuber talked about. We got Hunter here, who didn't make it also, but hopefully he's gonna make the next one. We got Trade Betters here, Late Start Wealth. John, I got to hang out with him finally. We call him Dirty Grandpa now, and that's gonna be his new nickname. But Jim said yes, I did. He's trying to say that he's trying to wonder why I'm called a troublemaker, but now he didn't agree with that at first, but for some reason now he is. But I need clarification on that. But
yeah, I had to prove that I had a wife because you didn't believe me.
I didn't say I didn't believe you. I just said you were able to get someone to marry you.
Hey, I'm good at sales.
But I didn't get to hang out with you as much as I thought. So, but we did get to connect. I know you had your wife with you, so I'm sure that had some.
I had a wife and a couple of friends that we brought, so that was
anniversary. Was it your anniversary? You said
it was my anniversary weekend, and then we brought some friends that bought their first investment property. So that was our primary focus, making sure they were entertained too.
Yeah, so John says, as a first timer, I thought it was great overall and phenomenal to meet so many people I've been chatting with online. Yeah, I think that was huge. I think that was, like you guys touched on it too, because we have so many Zoom meetings and calls now. It was people already had a relationship with certain individuals. So just going there just reinforced that. So what motivated you guys to attend this year's event, and kind of what did you guys take away from it?
I would say my motivation was meeting everybody face to face, but then I was looking forward to hearing the speakers too, and learning little tips and little ideas, and then even the information on YouTube channels and what he brought that first day, I thought was good. I took quite a few notes, and then getting to Graham Stephan looks like he's 12 years old. I'm sorry, that's what he looked 12 years old, but then the other guy, and I can't remember his name, was so good, but just a different personality. Man, I enjoyed it every which way. I really did. For me, I felt like I had a whole lot more enjoyment this year than even last year. That's just me, but everybody's different.
Yeah, I think for me, I was looking forward to meeting up with the same people I kind of met last year, and having making sure we see each other in person again. So that was a big part of the reason why I went. But then kind of secondary was the speakers I thought were really good this year, and trying to take a little bit from each one, I think was huge. And having ones that I wasn't expecting to even be there, or like the who is like the motivational speaker and like the mental health guy. I thought like him bringing a couple different nuggets for everybody was great. Definitely pumped you up a little bit, which I think is good. And then the health coach guy, so he touched on a couple different things that I thought were interesting outside of the financial realm that can still help you outside of that. So I thought those two I didn't really expect anything from, but I probably got the most out of those two speakers. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, Jim says, for a newbie, more information both from speakers and the community of investors. We got Frank, old guy REI, who's here, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it, and neither was Mikey, and they had to cancel last minute. So, like Cody, those are like two of your tribe or your buddies. I mean, did you have any thoughts of canceling after they decided they had to cancel?
Um, Maybe a little bit, but I think I knew enough of the other people that were going just from the different Zoom calls and stuff that we've had throughout the year. And I know Jason was going, and I never met Jason yet. He wasn't there last year, so it was good to finally meet him. We had fun going out a couple times, so it was good overall. But yeah, I think,
You're
and then
fired.
when
You're
you're,
fired, by the way.
I
You're
will
you're
definitely
fired.
take that one. But I think when you're at the event, last year it definitely was, you had to work towards like meeting someone new each time, whereas this year there was enough people that I already knew where it wasn't just like awkwardly trying to get involved into a conversation, because I knew so many people already, so I could go up to anyone and start up a conversation because there were so many people I already knew. So I thought that was a different perspective than I had the first year, where you're just meeting everyone fresh. Versus this year, I knew a lot of the people, so it was good to like, okay, if you're done with one conversation, you can kind of jump in with somebody else, and it felt a little bit easier to make connections on a deeper level too this past year.
We won't dig into why Cody's fired from taking care or watching Jason on the nights out or after the event. But Harrison does have a great question. So, Brandon, maybe what speaker surprised you the most?
Man. I think I enjoyed Mike's story of his police story, and how he tied it back to real estate was enjoyable. Man, there were several. Of course, we know Mike, as you said, Mark, that maybe he just couldn't pass the fire exam, and that's why he became a police officer. So,
Well, I was gonna ask him that question on stage, but I didn't want to take up anyone else's real questions. I kept going to the back of the line, and then
yeah,
unfortunately, Zuber, ended it. But Zuber told me next time, just let him know, and he'll give me one last question to stir up a little bit of trouble. Or the crowd is getting quiet already. I wanted
yeah.
to bring some excitement to the crowd. So,
No, it's
uh,
good.
but you,
We know
What
you're
about
always
you,
good to
Cody?
bring
Any
trouble.
speaker? No, it's not
I think,
trouble. It engagement.
yeah,
Liveliness.
sure, that's
Yes,
what I
yes,
call it.
exactly. So what about you, Cody? Any speaker surprised you the most?
I think it was the two that I mentioned previously. The mental health coach. I think just having that energy was good for everybody. Things um, to look out for. Definitely want to look back at those slides, because you're watching in the moment, but I think going back through and seeing if there's anything else that you can pick up on, and then the health coach too. So I wasn't expecting to get either of those there, so it was pretty cool to kind of dive deeper into that, because I think the financial freedom side, that's stuff I look at every day, review, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, like all that kind of stuff all the time. So those two were something different that I don't think about every day, which I think was refreshing.
Well, definitely the mental health coach came into play when you had to eat ramen noodles with a chopstick. I mean, you kept
Yeah,
a
I did.
positive attitude, and that may have been the funniest moment for me actually during the whole time in Vegas. Was when we went to eat noodles after the Hoover Dam on Monday, and seeing Cody try to use chopsticks was was something to see.
Hey, I thought I did pretty well. Okay, it's first time trying to eat something other than sushi with them.
But like you said, if it was rice, you'd still be eating.
Oh yeah, not a chance. That'll take me days. I would have
Let's
just gave
see.
up and just, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we got Hyder here. So the belt has entered the chat. So he is here joining us. Ike Hobbs said he's pretty bummed to have missed this year. So yeah, hopefully you can make year 3. So if you guys haven't heard, Zuber has mentioned a few times on some of his videos that year 3 is a go. Same weekend. I don't believe he said same place, but I'm assuming it may be. And maybe we can touch on that. Did you guys have any concerns about it being in Vegas again for year 2?
Not me.
I don't know. Go ahead.
I've heard of people mentioning going to different venues. We've watched that with other types of, if you want to call it a convention or a meeting. But I know it's convenient for Mike to plan all this. I think it's logical for what he's doing just to keep it there for his simplified effort. I think it's a decent venue for the size of the number of people. I think it's a pretty good venue.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's a big issue with it being in Vegas. I think, you know, me being out in the Midwest, you know, I'm gonna have to travel pretty much anywhere unless we're gonna come to the Midwest. But for that, I don't see a big concern having it in Vegas. I think there's always something to do. So outside of that time, you can always, you know, figure out somewhere to go. Hang out with everyone. So I don't see an issue there. I figure I got to travel no matter what if we're going, you know, East Coast or West Coast. So doesn't matter to me.
Well, hold on before I touch on this, but there's a lot of chopstick talk now in the chat. So Jim says, yeah, he does not use chopsticks either. John says, never let me pick the appetizers. We had the exploding beef pancake thing. And then Hyder says, yeah, I use chopsticks for eating, but mostly for stripped out screws. Yeah, you know, for me, I originally, I think heading into year 2, I did have some hesitation about it being in Vegas again. And I think a lot of people that I talked to, that's kind of the reason they may not have gone this year. That and the fact that the speakers were kind of not really known until maybe the last minute, I guess, to some extent. So those were a lot of people's concerns. But now that I look back on it and kind of what you touched on, Brandon, I think what he's trying to do, I think Vegas does make the most sense. You know, he's not trying to, I think, make money. He's not. It's probably the easiest for him to have it reoccurring, right? He has kind of a blueprint set up, and each year he keeps trying to tinker on it. And I know he it seemed like a lot of things went a lot smoother. You know, like the food, I think, worked out well for the VIP and the regular attendees. But I also still heard that the seats were still uncomfortable. I know he did try to get padding for the seats, but a lot of people still said they were very uncomfortable. So I'm not sure if that's something else that can be addressed for year 3.
Yeah, that was something I was experiencing just with my back sitting on those seats. That's why you probably saw I kept getting up and down. It was trying to protect my back would get pretty sore. You know, I could see, I don't know if you can rent those. I come from a church background, but those padded church seats that interlock are very comfortable. I don't know if they're out there to be rented. That would be an option because those seats were, you know, I could sit down for about an hour and then I'd have to stand up for a while and kind of go up and down. But truly no complaints. Man, it was a good time.
Harrison did say, I'm not sure. He says, were you guys shocked Zuber had to chase out people if the building multiple times because the backroom conversations were so loud? I'm not sure what is that about.
I'm thinking maybe a couple of times. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, in the back there, people are just having side conversations, and so I think there just needs to be a separate space for that if people want to have deeper dive conversations with somebody else in the group, because it does get pretty loud when there's a group of 20 people chatting in the back. And I think we did that last year, but I think a lot of last year we were back in that further room, kind of where everyone ate, and so back there is fine. But yeah, when people are chatting pretty close, it's tough to hear the speakers.
Yeah, the venue is not designed for conferences because it doesn't have a lot of sound dampening stuff on the walls. So it's definitely an echo chamber in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm to blame a little bit for that. Jen gave me who will be joining us later, gave me a couple of you're making too much noise. But yeah, the food was really, a lot of people are commenting on the food. The food was really good. Lars is here, and Lars, I know he brought his wife, so it sounds like that really helped getting her a little bit more on board. And it even got him looking into possibly a different market. So Lars reached out to me the other day, and he's possibly considering looking at the Pittsburgh market. But yeah,
my wife and the friend of my wife thought it was pretty funny that one, I can't remember which guy, and some of the questions that kept calling out his wife for not being on board. They were making a lot of comments about that. I can't remember the name, but they thought that was pretty good. I'll say he was pretty brave for calling out his wife like that.
Do you know who? I did not really listen to.
Oh, my wife caught it, and
Oh.
They did. They caught it, and they made comments about it several times. They said, if you call me out like that, I was going to be in deep trouble.
Let's see. Oh, we got Hugo here, Stay Winning Podcast. What's up, man? You didn't get to make it down this year. But he's asking, was there less people? I think it was about the same. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. So there was a lot of strategies and different things being talked about. Was there anything that maybe stands out that, a good fit for what you're going to be doing moving forward? Maybe like the lending products. Like, does any of that help you, Brandon, on the build to rent side?
I'm checking one out. Actually, Michael asked me to give him feedback. That one was a lending one.
Mm-hmm.
I did visit with them a little bit on their construction loans. It probably wasn't a fit for me. I've got a good relationship with my local banks that I don't have any issues getting them done, and have lots of freedom in how the draws are done. And so it wasn't a product that I'm probably going to be able to use. But I talked to them about their DSCR lending and their rates, and I'm going to compare, because I'm in the market for that here in the next, it's about 12 to 14 months. I've got to do a refinance, and so I'll be doing a DSCR. So they had some pretty appealing product. They had a pretty appealing product on that.
What about you, Cody? I think that was the one thing about the speakers this year. It wasn't so much focused on specific strategies. I think it was really about sharing people's wins and, kind of what they've accomplished, or, what struggles they may have started off with and how they're winning right now. Like the frugal game, my buddy Tom was there, and I think he killed it. He was one of my favorite speakers, and I just want to remind people that he was on my channel like 2 years before Zuber's. But Tom is such a cool guy. I love that story. And he's all over X and Instagram, so go give him a follow. But yeah, that's what I thought. It was more about just sharing people's wins and showing people that you don't have to start off in a great place, but people are still making it happen.
Yeah, for me, I liked Jason's the last one, just because I know he's one of those guys that are like, he's a pretty impressive individual with how fast he's going, like all those kind of things. But the fact that he had to learn how to do something new and then kind of like talk through how that went for him, I think that was pretty interesting. And not that I'm going to be doing anytime soon, but development something like in the future that would be kind of fun to do, I think. But just kind of hearing his perspective, and I thought that was a good way to kind of finish off, bringing him up there. So he's I did and really enjoyed him and Jen, their first when they went first last year. So this one, hearing Jason's story on like that part was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, Hyder says Tom was hilarious. He really got comfortable on stage. And let's see, Trade Better says, anyone you wish you could have spoken in Vegas that you did not have a chance to?
I think for me, I'm part of Dion's group. So Dion, we meet like on a weekly basis, for his group. And so when he was sick and didn't really get a chance to see him too much or hang out, that was kind of disappointing. And I'm sure he probably feels 10 times worse, just because, I know he looked forward to it. And the fact that he was sick during that time period, he couldn't really chat with anyone. So he looked in rough shape. So I'm impressed that he was able to do his presentation. But yeah, he's one of those guys that I was looking forward to chatting with that didn't give really much time to.
Absolutely. But we do want to throw out one tip to, or maybe suggestion to Dion, is that we're voting that next year's Denny's will be on at Fremont. That everyone's kind of like,
Yes.
Let's go to this Denny's instead. But what about you, Brandon? Anyone you wish you could have spoken with?
No, I can't really think of anybody. I did speak to Dion quite a bit that first year, and of course understood completely why he had to bow out, being so sick. I can understand where he's at. So that was the only typical person that was always available the first year and was talking to quite a few people. That this is not his choosing, it was just the nature of what was happening for him with his sickness. So look forward to him being there the third year and being a part of it. And I visited with Mike quite a bit after his speaking session. Met his girlfriend. He had her there, and seeing why he doesn't produce as many videos anymore is I gave him a little bit of hard time about that, but it was all good.
You gave him a hard time?
I did. I made a couple of comments to him.
I did too, but I better not say what I told him. But yeah, honestly, I don't know. I can't really. No one comes across the top of my head as far as like I miss speaking with. I guess I feel like I talked to a lot of people. I met a lot of people. And actually, I'm sorry for those that I kind of was supposed to talk to, I guess, and I didn't get a chance to. But I have messaged you folks in school and said sorry. We kind of didn't get to sit down, and we can always reach out. And but I did my best, trying to make trouble, and I'm hopefully next time, people, my number's usually in school, so just message me. So a lot of people were just messaging me trying to figure out where we were. Like Sarah met up with us before on Friday. Herman, a lot of people met up. So yeah, just reach out next time if you're trying to figure out what people are doing. But I think overall it was amazing. The Fremont Denny's tends to get checks mixed up. Both Simon and Jack got some free food the last time we went. I paid in full. You didn't wear your belt, probably. That's why. Hyder, I bet if you took your belt in there, you would have got some free food. But yeah, let's see what else. Maybe what's been the most surprising or unexpected insight you've gained from the event?
Boy, that's tough. I don't think I got too many amazing or insights. It was just confirmations of things, reassurance of a few little things in the path. For me, it opened up more conversations with my wife of what I'm trying to accomplish. We actually did that, sat down last night and talked more of why I'm picking getting to 20 doors, what it provides, and how close we are to getting to financial freedom and retirement here in the next few years. And so it opened those, it made those, for me, because my wife was there, it made those conversations more natural after hearing those last couple of days.
Yeah, I think it was good to hear the husband and wife stories, those two on both days. Just kind of getting, okay, it is a process. You have to talk through it quite a bit and then broadcast like, hey, what's the vision going long term? And I think that's something I got to do better of as well. Keep looking at what's the vision, what 5-10 years from now, how's life can be different, how can this help out our family. And I need to do a better job on that, because we get into our day-to-day and kind of forget about, okay, why are we actually doing what we're doing? And I think that's important. So that would probably be my biggest takeaway is like, all right, start broadcasting what that vision looks like long term.
Yeah, that is what we talked about. I mean, last night I was showing, why I'm doing the builds, what the equity is, how much, what percent I'm putting down, the why, trying to start at a little bit higher cash flow. That was some of the conversations. And then saying, okay, my goal is to get us to where we're averaging over $700 per door in cash flow. So if we start at 350, 400, it's that much easier or quicker to get to that 750. So for me, I mean, we had a great family conversation last night about that, but it was opened up from this conference bringing her there. But she made it very clear she's not a person that gets up in public speech. She says, if you're ever asked to get up there and speak, don't plan on me being up there with you. That's just not her thing. She would not do that, even though she's really easy to talk to and she would do phenomenal. And I know that she just would never do that.
Mark, I do got to
Hyder.
If there's any,
yeah. Just if you have any maybe
like last things.
Yeah. Maybe any suggestions or changes that you for year 3, if you could throw out there, if you have any thoughts on that, and then maybe a speaker you would like to maybe see next year.
Okay. I think the first thing is they got to change up the chairs. If they can put comfortable chairs so people are sitting on them for 8 hours, 2 times, or 10 hours, or however long we were there, that needs to, like, you need to be comfortable in those seats. And that was the main reason I did VIP this year, was so I had a lot more options to sit and stand or lean or whatever. So that's something that I hope they can fix for next year. But the other thing, the speaker, I do want to see Anna Kelly at some point. I know she had family things that popped up, and I would like to see her. I think the other thing, maybe kind of like you mentioned, knowing who the speakers are ahead of time, and then maybe having a bigger name kind of as the last person. So if they would have just said Graham Stefan's going to be the keynote, I think that would have attracted more people there as well. So I think they just need to, instead of having surprises, I think they need to tell you who's going to be there so they can get people in the seats, and sell tickets quicker. But I think for the most part, those would probably be the main things I would do.
Well, it sounds like Graham didn't even confirm that he'll be able to do it until like Wednesday, maybe, right? So it was always in question. So I guess that's why. But yeah, I think all great suggestions. I think Zuber will get a copy of this and maybe he'll take note of it. But yeah, man, if you got to bounce, whenever you got to bounce, just go. Thanks for doing this, and
right.
Yeah, man, we'll get you back.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, let me know if you want to chat about a different topic. And nice meeting you, Brandon.
Nice to meet you, Cody.
You guys have a good one.
Hyder, if you're still here, I forgot. I came up with I wanted to see if maybe you and your son wanted to come on and you guys can discuss, or he can discuss what his thoughts were of the event and maybe what his takeaways were. So let's connect and see if we can get something scheduled.
Yeah, that was
Um,
good to meet his son, and I got to visit with him for a couple of minutes, and it was enjoyable. I'm not certain I'll have the opportunity to bring my kids in the near future, um, but it's a great idea. If you've got kids that are interested in real estate, but also having an idea of how to grow wealth and being just exposed to that, man, what a phenomenal thing.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Hyder, Lauren will be there next year, I think. She did close on her property in Florida, so that was kind of the hold up. She would have had to fly back and forth. So chances are she'll be there next year. Sounds like Sierra should be making it next year. So a lot of people that I thought that were going to be joining me this year will probably be there next year. And I was never considering canceling. It was just I don't know. I just didn't have that same excitement. But now that I've gone, I think what I realize now is that it's not so much even who's speaking for me. I guess at the end of the day, I'm just there to network and have fun and talk story and meet people that I know. So as far as the speakers go, yeah, like I said, honestly, I didn't probably pay too much attention to when they were speaking. I'll watch it later in the recordings. It was me just kind of walking around, talking story, having fun. John, Dirty Grandpa. No, I do not want to get on stage next year. And I just want to clarify, I wasn't tearing up. It was something in the air when I received my belt. But definitely appreciated the recognition. But yeah, there's a lot of other people that should be on stage speaking. So even like Brandon should be on there. But let's see.
We'll see. He's talked to me a little bit about it, so we're gonna see.
Cool, man. Yeah, you should get up. You have some interesting stuff to talk about. So I think that would be great. Yeah, anything, I mean, what else was your, let's see, did you get oh, you didn't get a chance for suggestions and maybe a speaker that you'd be looking to see next year?
Hmm. I agree that I think the chairs are a big deal because the principle is your mind and your brain can't listen when your butt and back are hurting. If that could be done, and that seems like something that can be solved at a relative inexpensive cost if you're renting them for the weekend. So I think that's something that could be done fairly easily, that I think would make a big impact, honestly. Speakers, I would see maybe some more panels of different people, how they do it, and have a interviewer almost prep those panelists with questions of what they're going to ask them, so that they could maybe talk to somebody that does a lot of burrs, somebody that does like I do, the build to rent, somebody that does just straight resale. I mean, you could have a few, even between the singular speakers, maybe a couple of panels.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful too, right? If I know he does it, I know he's not paying the speakers, so sometimes maybe it's hard to get confirmation on who's coming, but definitely knowing ahead of time. And like you said, people can have maybe a little more prepared questions of what they may want to ask the speaker. But Hyder, yeah. Jim says these type of events get you prepared and excited for the year to come. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's everyone's kind of takeaway. And like you said, confirmation on what they're doing, and you just see people kind of, it's just a breath of fresh air, right? You're being around people kind of with the same vision or mindset. Dropped. I guess Dirty Grandpa is not flying well with. So we were in the lobby just waiting for everyone to kind of go to the airport whenever their flights were, and we're just, I forget how it came up, and we were just joking around about Dirty Grandpa, because John has the beard and everything, like dirty
Right,
dirty
right.
Santa, and this lady was just sitting in the corner just laughing at us. And come to find out, she just joined school. And I was like, hey, you're the one sitting in the corner laughing at us when we were talking about Dirty Grandpa. But yeah, so I guess she knows us already after us goofing around in the lobby.
That's good. That's good.
John says, I think they could even rent just cushions. I believe that's what he did. I thought that's what he did, rented cushions for the chairs.
I mean, there was a little bit of padding on those chairs, but I'm thinking honestly of a specific chair that is very, very comfortable that could be rented. So maybe I run that by him and say, hey, here's. I even can look up the product and say if you could find somebody that carries these type of products, because these chairs, they're lots of cushion. They interlink between. You can even get different sizing for those chairs on how the width of them. It's out there.
Let's see. Lars, my concern with speakers he has to pay is I'm not sure how honest they'll be there. Yeah. I mean, not that he has to pay them. I think it's just if he's able to kind of more clarity on who's speaking, I think, before people get to the event. Because I was still kind of uncertain on really who was talking, right? And I think some people, that might know ahead of time would have more questions prepared for the speakers.
That would be a good idea if that comes together and I'm able to speak, even putting out for the speakers, think that these are the topics I'm going to cover could be a draw. And that would be not just me, but I'm saying everybody, here's some of the specific topics that are going to be covered could help with a draw.
Again, where did you stay in Vegas?
Oh, I was a little bougie, so we stayed at the Wynn. So
Okay.
our friends were with us there, and Fremont's great. I went over there one evening, but we wanted to stay there. This was also an anniversary trip for us. So my wife and I were married on Valentine's Day, so that's on the calendar. I can't forget. So it's a combined trip. And I've had other conferences this same weekend when I was in real estate with when I was at Keller Williams. A lot of times their conferences was this exact same time frame. So we're used to going together and then making it a kind of a combined trip, because we had a lot of our own things planned every evening outside of the conference. I was there for the conference and would love networking then, but then afterwards I'm in that mode of with our friends and doing some of the shows that we booked.
I forgot. Oh, did your friends that you were with, did they attend the event or they were just
They
there?
did. No,
Oh,
they did. And the second day, my friend Mark, he really enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed more the second day because he's not a YouTube person. And he felt like the first day there was more content for that that just didn't pertain to him. But he really enjoyed the second day quite a bit and made sure he told his wife the same thing. And I even asked him, I said, would you come back? And he said, actually, I would consider coming back. So that was from somebody that's kind of not in our community. And I was just curious to see how it resonated with them, but they got some motivation out of it.
okay. So we were talking about the chairs, and that seems to be a consensus that the chairs were still uncomfortable. But Jim does say we should help do the legwork to find chair options to take it off his plate. And Heidi says, yeah, he thinks that would be very helpful. So, yeah, that's something. I think that would be very helpful, and I think he'd appreciate that. Harrison has a great question. He said, did you guys think there was enough question and answer time?
I personally thought it was adequate. I don't. That was me. I didn't feel like it was too little or too much. It seemed like it was about right. That's me.
Yeah, I think what it was like year one, it seemed like maybe the presenters not that they were more polished, but that they presented more often. So they might have had their presentation a little more honed in. So as far as time goes, they ended in a certain amount of time, which provided adequate amount of time for the questions. Where I think this year, a lot of the presenters might have been fairly newer, or so maybe some of their presentations went a little bit longer, and it kind of cut into the question times. I think that's what it may have been. But I think overall, I don't know what you guys think, but I felt like day one. I felt both days were a little too long. That's just my take. I felt like day one went a little bit, I don't know, maybe an hour. Both days, maybe an hour shorter, might have been a little bit better. I don't know. That's
I
just
would
my take.
suggest, yeah, I think so. My friends, because I'm reading their feedback. All of us, we all know each other. I didn't mind it at all, but they felt it was a little long for them. If it were to end around 4, that is what his wife said, is that they thought it, should end around 4. The dinner afterwards, I know we like it to network. They were done. I mean, she was done at 4 mentally. Um, it's trying to strike that right balance.
Yeah, I guess no one wants to give up the free meal, right? So I guess you could really leave if you wanted to, right? But people are gonna sit down and eat. But I definitely think maybe an hour shorter per day. That's just my take. Late start wealth says, yeah, adequate. Some bit short, but somebody got in line to do the ask. Yeah, you can't. Like I said, it's kind of just depends. Some had maybe more people standing in line asking questions, but I think a lot of it was maybe some presenters may have had a lot to share, and they went maybe a little bit longer than uh, he was trying to allot for as far as presentation time.
Because wasn't most of them, the design was to be about 50 minutes and leave 10 minutes for question and answer.
I thought it was a little bit more the other way. I thought it was like a shorter presentation and more time
Okay,
for a
maybe I had
question.
that wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to chat about until Jen and Kenny get here? Maybe I thought check-in was super smooth this
Yeah,
year.
it went
No,
well.
had a lot of refreshments. I think last year had to pay. That's why. Was it you have to pay last year? Last year we had to pay for refreshments, I
Maybe
think.
so, but I thought it was great. I mean, I thought the food that was provided was actually very good. I heard several people comment that they were pleased with the food choices and that everything I ate was great. I mean, I have no complaints. I've been in conferences way worse on food and stuff like that. I think Michael did a great job on that.
I did hear some people mention, and I'm not sure if it's possible, but some people were hoping for maybe screens upstairs so that they could see slides or whatever the presenter, because I guess it was kind of difficult to see the slides the presenter was sharing. So maybe if there was a way to put screens upstairs, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be hard because it's really not a venue for a conference. So he would have to be buying that type of stuff to put there. Conference centers have a lot of that designed in, but this facility is really not designed for that.
Good point. Well, maybe just handouts, right? So maybe someone can print out the slides or have all the slides prepared ahead of time, and people can pick up
That's a
booklets
good
at the front.
idea. You're
Yeah,
giving me a suggestion if I happen to do that next year.
I want credit for it, or like a note, like a event notebook, right? That has all the slides from the presenter and even a section to take notes, or maybe even write down contact information or whatever someone wants, right? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. But that would be fun. Some other kind of plan meetup. Let's see. Yeah, Hyder says some other kind of planned meetup Friday would help extend the event without condensing it too much. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I arrived. So last year, I think I arrived on late Thursday and I left early Monday morning. So that's why this year I arrived Wednesday and I left Tuesday. And even that, I feel maybe if possible next year, I would maybe leave late Tuesday or
So
some.
next year, so then Valentine's Day is on that Saturday, the 14th. And then President's is on 16th. So yeah.
That's pretty smooth of you to get married on Valentine's, so you don't forget and can save on
Hey,
gifts maybe.
it's efficiency things. We're all about being efficient. So
Let's see. Hyder says Denny meetup at noon for Friday, maybe. Yeah, but we also want to know why Denny's. That was the big. I mean, we understand Dion and Mike have the history with Denny's but
yeah, I'm one of those. Now I'm not a partier. I don't stay out late. So those type of things I'm not going to do. I just don't. But if it was some type of lunch thing, you could see me there. But the late night stuff is just not me. Never has been, even when I was in college.
well, we'll try to find some bougie restaurant for you to go to for lunch or something, so you can hang out with us regular folks.
I don't know. I'm just not a. I've never, even in college, I never stayed out late. That's just not my thing. I can't do it. I go to bed fairly early, and I don't know. If it was a morning breakfast, I'm there. If you said, okay, let's all meet at 6 a.m. for breakfast somewhere, man, I can do that all day long.
That's like my second win around then. That's like,
Yeah,
but yeah, Jim says I like the intimacy of this venue. Yeah, I think it's
I
a
do
great
too.
place. Okay, John, he doesn't like Dirty Grandpa, so he says John is much better. But he says they had them on two TVs. Perhaps they could put a couple upstairs. Yeah, maybe. 2 days in Arizona was amazing for recovering and to see my daughter and her mom. Yeah. Harrison says, Brandon, only brunches.
There you go. That's me. That's me.
Oh man. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. When is Jen? Jen and Kenny should be here soon. Uh yeah, I got in trouble with Jen a few times. First she yelled at me for not doing any helping out, and then she yelled at me for making too much noise. But so I had to tell Kenny, man, I don't know how you deal with that, man. But I was just joking.
Yeah.
But let's see. Lars says my wife said it is the best food she has ever had at a conference. Yeah, the food was good. I gotta say
Mhm.
it was really good. Yeah, and John says yeah, Friday meetup a little earlier possibly. Yeah, I think every year or not. It's only been 2 years, but it seems like it's getting a little smoother as far as networking, interaction, people hanging out. I mean, even like Monday, we went to Hoover Dam, which was fun. There was a group of us, and it was just fun just to hang out, get some sun, and yeah, it was entertaining. Did I clean my Crocs? Yes, I did. And what I do realize is that I need to buy like a half size bigger when I go to colder climates because I'm not used to wearing Crocs with socks. So my it was hurting my toes wearing the Crocs with socks on. And Ray did spill Gatorade all over it, and then he ran off. And Zuber looked at me like, "What the frick are you guys doing?" Um, Ike Hobbs, what do you mean if you make it next year for breakfast? Just call in sick, dude. I was sick for 3 shifts.
No, it
Um,
was good. I actually did a Casey Franchini asked me to do an interview, and so I missed that health or that motivational speaking part because I was upstairs recording with her, and so I missed that part.
yeah, I did get an opportunity to be in the podcast studio with Dana again from Hemlane, which was fun. And then Zuber gave me an hour in the podcast studio on Sunday. So I was hoping to do one with Omar because I want to take advantage of someone that had a big following, but Omar wasn't going to be there on Sunday. And then I asked Lisa Song Sutton, but she wasn't going to be there on Sunday either. So I did it with a few people, kind of a recap. So I did it with Harrison, Curtis, and Aaron Amin for their recap of the event. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get that up. And it's just, it's different, right? Being in a real podcast studio.
Yeah, that was pretty unique.
Let's see. Vegas midnight is 3 a.m. Eastern Coast time. Yes. So you gotta arrive a few days earlier and get settled in. Hyder, did you like the Mob Museum? Yes, I did not get a chance to go. I know a few people did go to the Mob Museum right by the downtown Grand, and they liked it. I mean, I think it was $35, I believe, but most people had good things to say about it.
We went to a museum. I'm trying to look it up right now. It was ARTE museum, and everything in the room, it was all projections of different things, waves, but they had mirrors on the walls. I mean, it was like you were immersed in each room was a different, maybe a nature scene. Some was like in Paris, and it was really unique because just how they did the lighting and everything. It was like you walked in, even the floor, the wave would go on, was projecting on the floor, and you'd be walking up. It was sometimes it's very disorienting, but my friend found that, and that was a unique museum. It was just projections of different scenes, but you're walking in it in these big rooms. It was I loved it.
Yeah, I think that's why I'd like to stay maybe longer on Tuesday, or it all depends on the schedule. But I would like to spend a little bit more time to, the Saturday and Sunday. You're really not doing too many. You're going to the event, and
Right. That's about all you can do those days.
I mean, well, we all hung out after. I don't know about you, but
I know.
well, yeah, but it's your anniversary. I get it. And even a lot of people, they came with their girlfriends or spouses, and they didn't get to do as much stuff as they may have wanted to with the groups and everything. But it
If
was
I were
cool.
by myself, I probably would have come to a few more things, but the focus is I'm living with her, and I'll pay dearly.
It looks like someone from your channel is stopped by. DIY Investor Guy. He says, "What's up, guys? It was great meeting you guys at the event. Not sure if I met you. If I did, put your name in the chat. And but yeah, hopefully I didn't make too much trouble if I did meet you in person. But was there anyone maybe that you met in year one and that you met in year two again that kind of either has took a huge leap forward in what they're doing, or maybe surprised you on where they're at right now, or?"
I know I can't really think of that. I'll be honest, that first year, I felt like I didn't meet many people. So this was the first year that I felt like I got to talk to more people. So the first year I felt, because I knew just a few. And so this year's where I've met everybody. So this is my first year to where I felt like I talked to a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean, year one, I felt like I met a lot of people. And then unfortunately, a lot of them didn't come year two. But I think, like I mentioned earlier, having a lot of the Zoom calls, even the YouTube channel and school and whatnot, I think year two, I met a lot of different people, and it was fun. I met way more people, and everyone kind of just, the big thing I always get is, "Oh, I thought you were taller," right? Because they see me sitting here, they can't really tell, but I get
Well,
that.
I had a few make a comment of how tall I was. Not that I'm that tall, but
Wait till you see Frank. Frank is like the sleeper. He'll be sitting down, and then all of a sudden he stands up, and you're like, "Holy crap, this guy's like 6'4" or 6'3" or whatever." But
right.
he's a giant. But the one guy, and I don't know if he's listening or tuning in, but Patrick Wilson was a surprise to me. I met him year one. He's in California. He's a bailiff now. But year one, he was kind of a wallflower, just kind of kept to himself. I did meet him. Year two, That guy's hilarious. He's funny as shit. I mean, he came out of his shell. He really said year one was really just kind of checking things out, and he said he's not comfortable in this situation, which I don't believe because he was just hilarious. But he was pretty much out with us year two every day, and just a super good guy, super funny. But he kind of looks at it as like year one was kind of just getting his feet wet. Year two, he kind of put himself out there networking, but now he wants to make sure he keeps in contact with everyone that he met. And
Right.
that's kind of what his takeaway is going to be is now that the event's over, it's going to be on him to continue the relationships that he built at the event. Let's see. Yep, Hyder says, thank God I brought my son to keep him in check. Yeah. John says some folks went to the Neon Graveyard. Looks like a cool place.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that too. Yeah, I don't remember who published them, but I did see those.
I think it was Beth Traverso.
That's what it was. Beth. That's who it was.
Jim says, I learned from those to get out of my comfort zone and meet people. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, right? I think no one is there to judge anyone.
Yep.
And I think that's the one thing. You can just be yourself, and maybe some people may not like what you have to say, but there's so much people there, right? You'll kind of just fall into your niche or your tribe or whoever you get along with.
Yeah, I enjoy just the diverse backgrounds, getting to know kind of where everybody comes from, and just appreciating everybody's unique experiences.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, see, Harrison says Pat had me crack up the whole night. Yeah, I'm telling you, Pat is just funny, and and maybe it's because people feel comfortable around me because they know that I just make trouble and talk shit, so they feel more comfortable in just saying what they want to say, and I think that helps lighten things up. But I do want to clear the air that there's multiple people that came up to me saying, "Hey, you're the guy that just makes trouble to everyone." And I want to clarify that I do not make trouble. I am just trying to lighten the mood and have fun and let everyone relax. And but it was a good time. Agreed. As an introvert, I just put myself out there. Harrison, you're not an introvert. Come on, man. And if anyone, Harrison has put out his videos on his YouTube channel. Shoot, I don't know if I have the link, but go check out his channel. And I also want to give a shout out to Jack. Jack's business. He met his goal. Dion gave him a challenge to get to 100 subscribers before the event. So I'm not sure he got to 100 during the event, so we'll give him credit for that. But Jack is at, I believe, 106 subscribers now. Okay, Sean, we did meet. I changed the name of my channel. Graham Steffens. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did meet you, man. It was good connect. Hopefully, I didn't make too much trouble to you, but it was good connecting. And I'll see you at year 3. Lars, my wife really liked that no one was judging others. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? No one is there judging anyone. No one's, even I think someone asked the question, right? Is there anyone there that didn't have rentals or something, right? And there was a handful of people.
Yeah.
And nobody was there judging anyone. Trouble is a subjective term. Come on. Yeah.
No, I would say, remember, I think one of the speakers, or it might have been Michael, I can't remember, asked who here doesn't have any properties. And there was quite a few, but that's good. They are on that journey. So even all of us that have a few, there is no judgment. We all had nothing at one moment. They're just on that journey with us.
Hold on. I'm going to message Jen and see where she's at.
Sure.
Let's see. Oh, where's her? She's probably dropping the kids off. And Kenny's probably not going to jump on without her. Okay, hold on. Yeah. No, but yeah, I definitely felt this year 2 was a lot better. I mean, like I said, I wasn't excited going into it, but now that it's over with, I just had a lot more fun, met a lot more people. It was super exciting. Suggestions for me to do. Oh yeah, you're on. Wait. Oh, next week. Yeah, I forgot you were coming to Maui. Planning on 10 dives. Dang, are you gonna be working at all while you're here? Heider said I'd say 15 to 20% of rooms said no rentals yet. Yeah. Yeah, because
But
Chester.
that's part of the audience he is trying to bring along.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Get
think
them
that
there, get them willing to step out. I made a challenge on my video last week too.
here is the challenge.
I
Are
see
you
that.
gonna make a build to rent course?
I had actually, it's interesting you say that because I had one other person ask me the same thing. So I'm thinking on it. Give me a little bit of time.
Are
I would
you
say watch the series that I'm doing. It is I'm going through the expenses as I build them, as I film every part of the series. I've got one more to go where the final product is displayed, and I'll go through some of the expenses, and then at the end I'll do a part 6 where once it's rented, go through all the financials for it. But yeah, that I've had somebody else suggest the same thing as a course. I've thought about doing some things of putting stuff out with spreadsheets, offering that to people, and even floor plans, those type of things to give that information out.
all right? Kenny is here. Can you hear us? What's up,
Hey,
man?
yes, I can hear you.
You recovered yet?
Good morning. Hey. Think so. Not
Well,
sure.
I know Jen was putting you to work a lot, so hopefully you recovered by now, running back and forth
Yeah.
doing stuff. Oh, but Brandon, I don't know if before
Yeah.
we check in with Kenny, but are you able to touch on the big news you mentioned to me the other day, or not yet?
Which
You messaged me something saying something happened, or someone reached out to you. I don't know if you're able to confirm that, or
oh
you
yeah,
want to.
I'm waiting to hear
Okay.
confirmation back. But she's the one that emailed me, so I just emailed her back saying, "Hey, let's get in touch." So one of the journalists for Business Insider approached me and asked to do an interview and an article on the build to rent model. So we're putting that together now of scheduling a time to do that interview and see when that comes out. So that was a pretty big deal
Cool,
to
man.
me.
Well,
I read Business Insider. I've been reading Business Insider for a couple of years now, and they do articles not just on real estate and personal finance. It's articles about all kinds of things politically, even the war between Russia and Ukraine. There's all kinds of stuff that Business Insider puts out.
cool. Well, keep us posted. Hopefully that all works out. I didn't want to say anything if you didn't have confirmation or anything, but yeah, let us know about it. Keep us
We'll see how
posted.
it all goes. We're trying to coordinate that.
Cool. So Kenny, you were at year 1, right? And year 2 is now done. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe give us some of your thoughts, what your expectations were, and what you think about it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the event I thought was phenomenal. It was always good to see you guys, especially after we connected in year 1. It was good to see everybody again. Um, yeah. Uh, I thought was the event was pretty good, especially with the two speak related. I thought that was actually a pretty good than last year.
Yeah, that kind of seems like the consensus. A lot of people enjoyed the
You there,
mental.
Mark?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you there? You're kind of cutting in and out, but
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I saw the screen freeze for a moment.
No. You're talking about the two additional speakers, non-real estate related.
Yeah, I forget I forget their names, but one was about the mental health, and the other one was um, the Zuber's doctor, um, the Doctor Jeff, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, I picked up a few tips from him. I actually appreciated some of it. I mean, you're not going to take 100% of anything,
yeah.
but I took several things from it. So it was good.
All right, before I let her in, I want to warn everyone. Trouble is here, arriving. So the party's gonna start pretty soon. So hold on, let me get Jen in here.
Morning.
Oh, there we go. See, here comes the energy.
Sorry. Oh my god, I'm in the parking lot. Okay, I hope they don't like.
Well, we're
Yeah.
just making sure Kenny has recovered from all the work that you were making him do while the event was going on.
Oh. Yeah, I think he's fine. Yeah. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
cool.
And we were just kind of touching on Brandon kind of already gave his spiel, but since you and Kenny both were in year one, what your guys' thoughts are for year two?
Did Kenny answer yet?
Somewhat, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought year 2 was more. Well, last year I actually missed the first day because I had to stay with my girls, but I think the second day was more about like networking and then yeah, the speakers. So that was good. I think this year was different for me because um it felt very like family oriented, right? Like he said, a reunion. And I thought like it was really good connecting with some of the folks from last year, like seeing them again. I think that was really good. And then yeah, definitely made an effort this time and could, right, because it was our second time around, to make like new connections. So that was really good. I that was my takeaway. That was like the difference between the first one and the second one. I think first one because we didn't know what to expect. So just like the speakers, and then being a little shy, not, talking to people, but trying to, right? Being in that really uncomfortable space. That was my first year. I don't know what Kenny said, but this year I felt really, and yeah, maybe it doesn't matter, right? No, I'm kidding. But the second year I felt like a lot more comfortable, right? Just going up to people, whether I've met them before. This car is gonna hit me. Okay, or just reconnecting. Yeah, reconnecting with people that maybe we came in crossing last year, and then just going up to like new people. So I felt a lot more comfortable this year. Like last year, I saw Wayne. I don't know, Wayne
Hmm.
with All Nighter, and Millennial Mike. I saw him last year, but I saw him at the tail end, so I never got to connect with him. But I remember his face. And then this year, I actually connected with him at the end. But at least we had like some good conversations. So I think that was a difference. I was a lot more comfortable this year. And then you were there, which just makes a lot of difference, right, Mark?
Well, I was
For
saying
the
I got
better.
lectured by you a few times at the event for making too much noise and not doing any work to help out. So
I
I
heard
did.
you were causing trouble and making like saying rumors about me. So
No. John Litz said that girl Jen just talks. For every one person I checked in at the front, she checked in like five people, and that's from what he told me. But I'm sure Zuber appreciate you. You were super helpful, and you helped everything go super smoothly, and checking in people and helping the event go very well. But it looks like you have a fan. I'm not sure who Zeus World is, but they said love Jen's energy, so I'm not sure
oh,
who that is. But yeah, so
you.
let's see. Let's give Kenny a chance to talk. What motivated you this year to come to the event, Kenny?
I think it was just the aspect of seeing everybody again, and meeting new people, seeing people that make connections with in year one. I think that was the main motivation factor for me coming.
What about you, Jen? Was there any different reasons, like motivation for this year to come?
I'm just a fan of Zuber. I just feel like really connected with his story. I haven't found anyone since then, since first seeing him on YouTube. So relatable, totally up for his cause, right? Of spreading that, I know I'm preaching it a lot now, but him being broken, focused, W2, just all the things that you don't hear on social media, right? As the path to go, very little, right? So I just really believe in him and his story and what he's trying to do, like impact, not, about money. I'm so glad that he's made it so that he doesn't care about the money. So he's just doing it for the impact. So I feel, because I so believe in his cause, and I actually don't think I can say that about many influences out there. I just want to support anything that he does, to be honest, right? So he didn't ask me to help, right? I just Kenny knows, I just put it upon myself, and then I volunteer my husband constantly for stuff that he's not aware of. So I just believe in his cause so much. I want it to be successful so much. I want his message out there so much, that in any way that I can help, I love it, and I support him wholeheartedly. I'm so crazy with my personal life that I can't contribute in the school community, and I'm not really social media based. But anything with my, just hands and strength, right? I always would love to contribute in those ways that I can, right? He's always talking about, please post on school and comments in his YouTube. Sometimes I just can't find the time to even do that, unfortunately, as much as I used to. So being there in the event without the kids, without family, without responsibility of in that sense, I was like, just put me to work. I'll do anything. Last year we saw him taking stuff down at the end of the event on his own. And I totally saw that. So this year I made it a point to say you know what, I'll take that off your hand because I saw you do it last year. And people, they're so humble, both Olivia and Zuber. No, we could do it ourselves. And I'm like, no, people want to talk to you, right? People do not want to talk to me. So clear that from your list of things to do. And it's so minimal, right? There's so many people helping him out already that love him and love his messaging and stuff like that. I just tried to help where I knew that he saw him struggle a little bit last year, or do things that I felt like he shouldn't have done, right? But they're so humble. They're like, no, we got it. And I just forced myself in that space, whether I was invited or not. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think everyone agrees with you. Hyder says, yeah, he agrees. Just want to support Zuber and the family. So you, Kenny, was there any speaker that stuck out or left a lasting impression for you?
I think one speaker was that actually kind of inspired me, and Jen also, of something that we can probably do and teach our daughters, is the frugal gay. How he was basically, well, he was flipping bras and basically arbitraging things on eBay. It inspired us to maybe somehow work that in and have our daughters do that later on, and teach them, what work is and how to make money and all that.
I will remind everyone again, he was on my channel first, so go back and look at the videos, and Tom appeared on my channel about 2 years ago. But yeah, Tom's a super good guy, so yeah, I love his journey. What about you, Jen? Was there any speaker that besides the frugal gay, I guess, that I know you had a lot of questions for him, but was there anyone else?
They were all good. I think that they were all good, right? And I caught both days this time, so that was really good. But I think the people, there's a couple of them that stuck to me, which is the frugal gay. I thought his story was really good. And I don't know if he prepared for the presentation, but it flowed really well. And I think that's because it was so natural. So the people that got the virtual ticket, watched that again, and people that were there, I just felt like it was really genuine. And sometimes when you're genuine, you don't even have to prepare in advance. It just goes really well. And he was smart. He was, quick. He was to the point, quick-witted. It was just a really enjoyable presentation just on its own, and just kind of captured you, right, to pay attention. And then his story of how he came from really little and flipped, and now he's successful. Yeah, super inspiring. So I think he captured me the most, and I thought like maybe we could do something and get our kids to be financially literate early. So that's one. The second one was the doctor. I think it's Dr. Jeff, and I think Kenny. We were part of the crowd. I think in Zuber's Daily Financial, he said he kicked the crowd out to talk to Dr. Jeff because they were so loud. That was part of me and Kenny. Like we just flooded him, and Casey came with from Brick by Break Wealth, and so I thought he was really good too. Really eye opening as far as his methods versus what you usually hear at the hospital. So just different and something that was very interesting to us, right? And then the third one, even though I'm not in that space, was Jason Pritchard, right? About talking about his land deal. That's not my space. I know him, but we're not, I think right now, at least in the same lanes. But he was also very capturing. He's just a really good speaker, right? And I don't know if you're prepared for it. I don't see how I struggle with speaking. So sometimes that really impresses me. But he spoke so well, and Kenny and I talked about it afterwards. Like he's just like on the mark when he's talking, right? With such passion, such clarity. So I think for me, those three, even though they're all really good, I think those three stuck with me. And Jason, not because I relate to him, but just because the way he's talking is really good, right? And just made me really pay attention to what he had to say. So yeah, those were, and then Olivia, of course, at the end was nice. I don't know if she did that last year, but yeah, her speech at the end was a really good closing, I think, to wrap up the event.
Yeah, I don't have this problem, but I did ask Jason Pritchard. I said, "How is your hair always on point?" And he told me he's watched hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube. So he
It's
has all
funny.
kinds of products, but his hair is like always on point. But yeah, so I'm not sure if anyone knows too, but Jen is a big reason why Zuber's channel gets a lot of big guests or bigger names on his channel. But we're also trying to promote getting Brandon on stage for next year. So a lot of
Nice.
people, and if you, I don't think you tuned in yet, Jen, but if you haven't heard, Brandon might have an opportunity with Business Insider. They reached out to him and they want to
Wow.
talk to Bill Torrent.
Yeah.
So we want to make this push to get Brandon on stage next year. Um,
Cool.
but Hyder is here. Oh, Jovi's here. What's up, man? We'll see you next year. He couldn't make it this year. So Jovi is in Wisconsin, and he is one of those that he's having a difficult time. I guess maybe you can say getting his spouse on board, and I
Mm,
think that's really what Zuber is trying to focus on with a lot of the speakers. And it sounds, I don't know if Lars is still here, but sounds like it was very helpful for Lars to bring his wife with him this time. It sounds like she's more on board. And I believe Rusty Riley and Katie Riley were there.
yes.
I heard the wife wasn't maybe, or gave him kind of a timeline maybe to get things going. But I think after this event and after speaking with her, she's a little more on board with the game plan now. So I think it's been super helpful. So Joe, if you can get your wife there next year, I think that would be super helpful. And Frank is here. He said would love to attend Jen and Kenny's next Bay Area ORaaT meetup.
Oh, I tried. That was hard. It was just me and Kenny and the kids. and that was our meetup. But Casey came, right? Casey, who's a member of the school community, which is, he has a lot of energy too. Too bad he couldn't make it to the event. He was there with his kids. So, yeah, that was the first and only one. But I met some people, Rusty, right? Rusty and Katie.
Hmm?
And there's another person from Santa Rosa, but and then I met a couple that's close to us as well. We were talking about, yeah, potentially doing a meetup in the Bay Area. Probably not hosted by me because that one did turn out well, but definitely something in the Bay Area because it turned out there's a lot more of us than I think any of us knew about. So that would be cool. Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Did you talk about like the speakers that stood out to the both of you?
Um, I didn't really listen to, to anyone.
Okay.
He
I
was
was,
back in the back talking the whole time.
yeah,
Oh my
I got, and I
goodness.
told them I got lectured by Jen a few times for making too much noise and not helping do anything. But so I feel for you, Kenny, like I said a few times already. Um, but Lars does say yes, his wife, it helps seeing other couples working together, so that was super helpful. But yeah, so Brandon, maybe since Kenny and Jen just popped on, we were kind of talking about maybe suggestions for next year. So maybe Brandon, you can give them a little recap on what suggestions you may have for year three.
Yeah, I did enjoy Mike's speech the second day. I enjoyed Dion's too. I got up and I just asked one question because we hear about that 15% savings for vacancy repairs and capex. My curiosity was, when did he come up with that, or did he come up with that on his own, and at what time? And I wanted to ask that, and that was good to hear. I would really love to see a panel type of discussion, or at least a few panel discussions with maybe some of our community that are that one rental at a time, but they're doing it, be it house hack, be it BRRRR method, be it my method of build, several of them, and have questions kind of prepared by the panelists, have been prepped with the questions that maybe it's Zuber's asking, or maybe it's Dion asking the question. Somebody that's one of the core asking the panelists some deeper probing, behind the curtain type questions of the how to, and that I think would be pretty eye opening and informative, where we're hitting maybe 4 common methods of how to get there, and having somebody asking those questions. I think would be, I'm just trying to think of something that I think a lot of people would appreciate. And
Yeah,
even some of the, here's where I failed. Oh, here's where, or not, maybe not the word fail, because fail is only if you quit. It's here's where I learned something. Oh, I made a little mistake, and man, I've made this adjustment. It doesn't always go sunshine and rainbows. And I'm going to be sharing that. I'm literally right now looking at a building I call it the one that got away. But that one that got away made me so upset to where I am today, of having the properties I have now, is because of the one that got away. I'm still ticked off at myself, not able to have figured out how to do it.
Lars says, I think a panel discussion on how houses built during different timelines compared to others on the rentals they own, for example, built 1980 versus 1930.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I think, maybe everyone can send their suggestions to Zuber and whatnot, and see what he comes up with. But Kenny, any like recommendations or things that you may have changed, or did you see improvements from year one and year two? What were your thoughts?
I don't know if I have any recommendation. I haven't really put any thought to it. I think one of the things that was great this year was how Zuber did allocate more time for networking. So I think the lunches were a bit longer, if I remember correctly, and the fact that he fed everybody, I think, was good. And I know last year there was a lot of people just waiting in line for food, which kind of stole away networking time. So I think that was an improvement. Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah. All right. So Jen, you can answer the same question, and we'll get to Harrison's question after for you folks.
I like the panel idea. I've been to conferences where they did just have a couple of people, like common folk, right, that have success or not success in issues like that. I love that idea, actually. It'd be good to, pick some people of like, yeah, for me personally, just what I'm interested, right? Like seller financing, somebody that did sub 2 successfully, somebody that's wholesaling, and somebody that's just doing the long and steady. So that would be kind of, I love that idea, actually.
Well, with that, Jen, I just thought of another panel discussion. We could do a panel discussion just on the financing piece.
Yeah.
Of different, because I come from traditional finance. I was a commercial banker. I could give people some really good suggestions on the traditional route, seller financing route. We could do have a panel discussion on different financing, different strategies, or several different
Yeah.
panels that would be good for people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I know this is like one rental at a time, so maybe it doesn't apply, but something that we didn't really touch on for, I think, either conferences is that creative space, right? That's like, but maybe it doesn't apply here. That part I don't know. Like, so we're not touching on the different strategies like MTR, STR, right? That wasn't talked about. So maybe something like that. That's the only thing I can think of. But I like Brandon's idea of a panel of just people in the community that either have done it or are still in it, right? First, so it'd be nice to hear somebody that's done it successfully. Like, how did they get these sellers? Because the first question I always ask, I asked it to Lindsay, I asked it to everybody, like, how did you get your seller finance deal, right? That's always an unknown. And then, then you have all the success story of people that have made it and are just either cruising or not as picky about finding deals. It'd be nice to have somebody in the growth mode of like the 5 to 10 year suck, which is exactly where I'm at. So I'm not saying we should go up, but I'm just saying like to relate to somebody like that and then be able to go up to them afterwards to ask questions like, how did you get through it? Like, how much therapy did you, and then somebody that's just starting, like, what are the struggles, right? I would love to have somebody from the community. Then we can contribute, we can gain from them and they can contribute back to the community, right? That'd be nice. So I think that's a really good idea, Brandon.
Casey has stopped by. He says, perfect couple in the house. I believe he's talking about me and Brandon.
But, I would agree. I don't see any other answer to that.
But Trade Better has a question for Jen and Kenny. He says, what is something that you would want your daughters to social arb? Toys, electronics?
No, I think that's the I, right? I want to hear what Kenny says.
Actually, I just thought about it. Both our daughters love, Squishmallow toys. Oh. I'm wondering maybe if they still into it when they're a little older to know more, maybe they can try to maybe.
I'll tell you what my daughter has done just in the last 2 years. Now, this is a little different than that, but my daughter loves baking. And so last year she started baking cookies, those kind of sugar cookies with the little icing design on them. She made those Christmas cookies and sold them by the dozen, delivering to a whole bunch of people in the local community. Then last year she did Thanksgiving cookies and then also Christmas cookies. So she with those little cutouts, I watched her baking. She didn't make a whole lot, but it's really more about the lessons you learn. She made a few dollars, but then this year she got those little car freshie kits and started making freshies. And regardless of the dollars she's making, she's learning, because we've sat down and walked on the freshies. Okay, what's the cost of all the different products? Then doing the division of, okay, here's how much it's costing you per freshie to make. What should we charge? It's really not about making a whole lot of money. It's the lessons you're learning of being a steward of your money and holding your money accountable, but being productive. I mean, that's just some of the things my daughter's been doing lately.
All right, so I got about 10 more minutes before I got to get my son up for school. But I just want to remind everyone, I'll also be going live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's going to be first-time attendees. So I'm going to have Jack on, Harrison, and Sarah, who is one of the speakers. And I'm trying to set up another one for Saturday. I did reach out to Lindsay. I'm not sure if she's available. And yes, Jen is smiling because that's her new sidekick, her partner in crime. But Jen is super excited that there's other females in this space. So she is trying to network and promote them and whatnot. But yeah. Lindsay's doing a lot of cool stuff. So go check out her YouTube channel also. But yeah, let's wrap things up a little bit. So Kenny and Jen, I know you just kind of popped in, but kind of the biggest thing was the seats, the chairs. That was one thing people still said was very uncomfortable. So some thoughts were maybe we could take it upon ourselves to find a better solution and take that off of Zuber's plate. and maybe somebody can step up and do that. But that was probably the only thing that people really maybe had a comment about, is just the seats. Some people talked about it was hard to see the slides, so maybe we came up even making like a notebook type of thing that has all the presenters' slides in it and kind of use as a notebook for people to take notes on. But other than that, anything else you guys want to finish up with? So year one to year two, did you like year one better or year two? We'll finish up with that then from each of you.
I think they were different for me. I would say year two, just because I missed half of year one, and then this year I was a lot more comfortable. I met so many people, right? Lindsay, Harrison, awesome people. The list goes on and on and on. The one thing that sticks out about improvement, you brought up some really good ideas. Actually, I didn't even think about that. For me, it was the noise, and not that it bothered me, but I know a lot of people were bothered by it, right? So I think that was from you mainly, Mark. So I had to keep on talking to you. I made a lot of enemies because I was like shushing people, because people were bothered, and for some reason they came up to me to tell me about the problem. Like, Jen, can you fix it? And I'm like, okay, but I didn't really know what to do. It's kind of like how work is, right? People just gives me problems to solve. But that was the only thing that kept on sticking with me. Yeah, I think I talked to an educated economist. I'm like, is it bothering you? And he goes, do you think so? I'm like, oh shit, I gotta fix this right away. But I couldn't hear. But yeah, that I think needs to be fixed. That was the only thing I felt like, even though it didn't necessarily bother me, like I could tell it bothered other people, and that made me uncomfortable. So that's the only thing I can speak to.
I better not come then next year.
No, otherwise I don't have anybody to like, talk to and cause trouble with it.
DIY investor Sean says, I think the stage could have better lighting. That's his one suggestion. What about you, Kenny? Any thoughts, or year one, year two? Yeah.
Year one. I thought year two was a little bit better. But that may be more of the networking aspect. I knew some of the people there. It was kind of like a reunion of seeing them again, meeting new people. But I mean, both years were phenomenal. Year one had that wow factor that, no one had ever experienced an event like this before. And year two, I think Zuber was able to capture that again, and just connecting with new people was a bonus. And yeah, I do.
Lars, right?
Yeah, I saw Lars.
Yeah,
it was good to see Lars again. But yeah, I think improvements. Yeah, definitely the noise. I didn't think about that earlier, but yeah, the noise echoing. But I don't know if maybe that's just the facility, but there is a lot of echo from the lobby.
Brandon, year one or year two was better for you?
Oh, absolutely, year two. No doubt. Enjoyed getting to see everybody that I've met over the last year. I think year three will be just as good, if not better. Getting to know more of it's almost like an annual pilgrimage to Vegas for the ORaaT event, and rejuvenating all the juices of the whys we were passionate about this.
Well, like I mentioned before Kenny and Jen got on, I honestly I wasn't too excited coming into year two. I think after year one, initially, yeah, you're super excited, and as it kind of got closer and closer, I wasn't that excited for the event. But I went anyways. I still wanted to go, but after going, yeah, definitely, I feel year two I had a lot more fun. It was more enjoyable. And like Kenny touched on, I think year one was a different type of excitement, right? It's kind of the unknown, is kind of everyone first time meeting each other. A lot of the speakers are more like I guess you would say, the original ORaaT kind of community. But year two, yeah, that's kind of the speakers for year one. But what I think I realized the most is, it's not, for me personally, it's not even really who's speaking. I mean, of course, we had a lot of great presenters, but for me, it was just being there and getting to see everyone and connecting with different people. So for me, year two was a lot more fun, and it just seems like now every year will probably just be better and better. So those that didn't make it to year two, I highly suggest planning for year three, since Zuber has already talked about year three being the same weekend. So I would try to make plans to be there, and I would try to be more quiet, I guess, next year and not make too much trouble.
And don't spill the Gatorade. Like, I saw Gatorade on the ground. Before, I saw Mark, and then I saw Gatorade on the ground, and then I saw Mark gone. I'm like,
That
hey.
was not me. That I will not name anyone,
But how
it's,
did you know about it? Are you sure it wasn't you?
it was okay. It was
Oh,
Ray
wow.
who spilled the Gatorade on my Crocs, and yes, yeah, Zuber wasn't too thrilled about that, but I think Jen did clean it up, or I think I saw Jen go get some paper towels. Yeah, I kind of ran off, but um, Steven is stopping by. He says, "Great to meet everyone." But yes, yeah. So if you didn't make it to year 2, I highly suggest planning for year 3, and hopefully everyone had fun doing this. And just a reminder, I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's one is for sure is already set. Saturday, I'm trying to work on seeing who I can get on. But thanks for doing this, all of you, and we'll get you folks all back on again.
Sounds
right.
good.
All right.
Thank
Have a good day,
you.